Well, I'm the founder and president of the Rhonda Walker Foundation, and I'm also the morning news anchor on WDIV Local 4. So I assume because I wake up in the morning at 2 a.m. for work every day, I have the honor of being your first speaker today. And it is an honor, and I am so thankful to be here. So thank you all for being here for TEDxDetroit 2024. So I want to start out by having you all close your eyes. Close your eyes and imagine that you're back in middle school. Everybody's eyes closed, imagining you're in middle school? Okay, open your eyes. That was me. Taking you back to middle school, the awkward buck teeth that I finally grew into for this TV job. But it's a time of uncertainty, you're finding yourself, it's awkward. But there are some disparities when it comes to being a middle schooler, particularly between girls and boys, which ultimately means between girls and their goals. Something is gaping in the middle. And it's something that's quite sad when you think about it. For teen girls between the ages of 8 and 14, there is a 30% drop in confidence. Immediately, our confidence drops by 30%. And then on top of that, this same group of middle school girls, 20% of them report feeling and struggling with depression. So now, that is what is filling that gap between the girls and their goals. There's a confidence drop. There's feelings of depression and uncertainty. And then if you think a little bit forward and think about kids that may be struggling with mental health issues, maybe struggling with family issues, maybe suffering from financial insecurity, food insecurity, clothing insecurity, may be in a family that is dealing with a tragic loss because of gun violence. Maybe they've lost a parent. Maybe they've lost a sibling. There's a struggle that some kids go through that are far beyond what many kids should ever face. Maybe they're in and out of different homes. Maybe their parents are separated or divorced. Maybe they don't know who one of their parents is. And yet they have to get up every day, perform in school just like everybody else. Now imagine that girl is Black. Imagine that she is right here in the city of Detroit, in a school district where only 6% of this population of kids is proficient in math, where only 2% are excelling and demonstrating excellence in science, and 67% are struggling with reading standards. And again, we're expecting these kids to have the same advantages as their suburban counterparts, but they're not getting into those talented and gifted programs. They're not getting the accelerated learning in math and science. They're not getting prepared to be students in a prestigious college, but we still expect them to be just as academically sound and ready for their life and their future, with these gaping disparities and opportunities and resources and support. So when I got to college at Michigan State University, always hoping for a few Spartans out there, I had 2 college-educated parents, so I was pretty fortunate. I was off to college at Michigan State, ready to pursue my dreams in a career of broadcast journalism. Only there's one hitch. I went to a university career fair with people in the field that told me that you are never going to make it in this career field. There's too many jobs. There's not enough jobs. There's not enough opportunity. It's a very difficult industry to get into. You should think about doing something else. I got back to college thinking that these people knew what they were talking about and knew what my potential was. I lost all belief and confidence that I could have a career in the field of my dreams, and I changed my major to business. I was going to be a businesswoman. I was going to be a businesswoman. I was going to have an office in an office building in downtown Detroit overlooking the river. Ask me what my job was going to be. Businesswoman. That's all I knew. I know I did exactly what that job was going to be, but I was going to have a gorgeous view and wear a business suit. So my third year of college, I get an internship in my business degree with a consumer foods company. I worked that job here in Detroit in the summertime. I worked so hard, they gave me an offer when I graduated. I had the paper in hand, offer letter with my salary. I got back to college thrilled. I am about to graduate and start my job with this consumer food company. Graduated, started my job. I was actually doing the same thing I was doing in the internship. I was peddling cereal, oatmeal, cake mix, frosting, and box popcorn in grocery stores all around the Metro Detroit area. I lasted 9 months. I was not motivated. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy being in and out of the back of grocery stores or fighting for shelf space for my cereal. So I took my Fortune 500 job on my resume and I went into pharmaceutical sales. Legal pharmaceutical sales. I found antibiotics and high blood pressure medication, important stuff, right, to keep people alive. I lasted in that job for about 2 years and then moved to another company, all in pharmaceutical sales. But I just grew weary. I was miserable. I didn't enjoy my career. It wasn't what I wanted to do with my life. Anybody relate to that? You wake up and you're like, why am I in this job? I'll tell you what, it's your fault. It's our fault. Because somewhere along the line, we gave up on our dreams and aspirations and we took the job. I took the business job. Didn't know what I was going to be doing, but I quickly found out that I didn't like it. And I didn't like it so much that along the way, I started flipping in my productivity and started working about maybe 3 out of the 5 days a week. The other days, I just couldn't will myself to get up and get out. Well, that became a problem and the company caught on and they fired me. So in that moment, I was at a crossroads in my life. Do I want to try and pursue another job in this field, use my Fortune 500 company sales and marketing experience, or do I try to jump into a field where I have zero experience, never set foot in a newsroom, but have a desire and a belief in myself that I would excel in this job if somebody just gave me a chance? I knew it. And so I said, all right, I'm going to start interviewing. I'm going to send out my resume. Well, not one news station or outlet in this entire city wanted to give somebody a chance with my resume. I could not prove to anybody that I was capable of doing the job. So then I said, well, let me try the talent industry, industrial films and corporate videos. I even wound up modeling at some point, which was not my aspiration, but you may have seen me on a bus. I was sitting on a sofa on a bus promoting a furniture company. And I also did Weight Watchers commercial once, which that's a whole nother story. So anyway, I'm doing these odd jobs. My parents are looking at me like, what are you doing? This is a college degree from Michigan State. We paid a lot of money for this, and you are wasting it. Friends were like, girl, what are you doing? But I had a sense of peace. I knew I was on the right track, but I couldn't explain it to anybody. I was having fun. I felt better than I ever did when I had those other jobs. In that first year, I only made $10,000. But I was happy. But before that year ended, guess what happened? One of the local TV stations contacted one of the agencies that I work with and said, we are combing this city looking for a traffic reporter. Now, what I didn't share with you about my experience in selling cereal and cake mix and pharmaceuticals is that I worked out of my car. I drove every side street. I drove the Lodge, I-75. I knew all the traffic patterns. There was nobody in the town outside of truck drivers that knew these roads better than me. And so when I had the opportunity to audition for this job, I walked into this news station full of confidence. There was no way that I was leaving without at least a second interview because nobody could be more qualified than me. I walked out of that job with a job offer, and I have never, in my 26 years in my television career, auditioned or interviewed for a job since. I was the traffic reporter, the weathercaster. I did feature reporting. But really, my goal was to be a news anchor and a reporter. No self-respecting reporter ever wanted the traffic job, by the way, so I didn't have that competition against me either. But I did when I tried to get into the news side. So much so that the station that I was with never saw me in that capacity, and they weren't willing to offer me a job doing it. They said, stick to what you're good at, traffic. Well, this is 5 years in, and I can do more than traffic now. But little did I know that the station down the street in downtown Detroit watched me every single morning. And they saw me the way I saw myself. They saw in me that I had the ability to lead a newscast and be the news reporter that I dreamt of being all the way back when I was a middle school girl. I got delayed and derailed many times, but ultimately it was someone else that saw me and gave me a chance that I was able to realize my dream job. So when that moment happened, something happened to me. I was so grateful that I felt a sense of greater purpose and responsibility. So during my 6 months no compete clause, before I could go work at WDIV Local 4 where I work now, I went to schools. I wanted to talk to those middle school girls and motivate them and tell them that you can accomplish anything that you want in your life, and to love the girl in the mirror, and to be a leader and not a follower, and to go after your goals and never let anybody tell you that you can't do it. Well, along the way, I met a middle school girl in one of the schools that I went to. And she said, okay, but how do you do that if everybody discourages you? If everybody in your family, in your neighborhood tells you that you're never going to amount to anything? I've never seen anybody in my family go to college. So how does that girl overcome all of that and still achieve her dreams when everybody is telling her that she can't? And at that moment, I knew that my purpose was not to be your morning news anchor for the last 21 years. It was to utilize that platform to help transform the lives of teen girls. So I founded the Rhonda Walker Foundation. Because these girls that are lacking that affirmation and opportunity deserve to be empowered, encouraged. They deserve the same resources and opportunities that kids in suburban, affluent communities have. And that's what I wanted to use my platform to do for these kids. And I've been doing it through a 5-year program, because you can't change a life I learned in an hour. Those kids might have remembered that I came to their school and the TV lady talked to them, but I couldn't change their life. But I knew if I had them for 5 years, from the 5th grade to the 8th grade, that I could transform them and help them believe in themselves and their potential and give them the exposure that they needed. So here are statistics that I'm very proud of. Unlike the ones that I shared with you earlier, the kids that complete the 5-year career, personal development, college preparation, and mentoring program of the Rhonda Walker Foundation graduate. 100% high school graduation here in the city of Detroit. 100% college enrollment and 95% college graduation rates among the kids that complete our program. And lastly, and believe me, I'm not bragging, I am just thankful that we have this much support in this metro area from our donors. We have provided these kids with $1 million in scholarships over 17 graduating classes of the Rhonda Walker Foundation. So for me, my life has been completely transformed by making one decision: to believe in myself. And a second decision, to be determined and to never give up on my dreams. And a third decision, to ignore anybody else, even my loved ones and people that I think have my best interest at heart, telling me that I can't do something, because nobody knows your ability. Those people in my industry back when I was in college had no idea what I was capable of doing. They had no idea because they just met me. Nobody knows what's within you and how much you're willing to pour into your passion and your dream. And when you do it, you have no idea what kind of blessing is going to be on the other end. I never saw this coming, that so much of my life's purpose would be empowering and inspiring teen girls in Detroit. But I am profoundly thankful for that. And I'm profoundly proud of them. I have a purposeful existence. I do it with a huge board of directors and a lot of donors, but it wouldn't be possible without the kids that we have the opportunity to inspire and the parents that trust us with their children. And we all can be ambassadors of hope. We all can affirm and help someone else, a peer, somebody that you see could use a helping hand, that you can share some of the experiences that you've had in your life to help make a difference. All of us can do that. And when you do that, you're going to find another level to life that you never could imagine, because it really isn't all about us. It's all about what we can help and do for others. And so I want to share with you something that I am deeply proud of, and that is this. Our 17 graduating classes of the Rhonda Walker Foundation. These kids from Detroit that have graduated from college. They're engineers, they're accountants, they're social workers, they're teachers, they're nurses. We have a diplomat in Washington. We have a doctor, we have a psychologist. We have kids in every single industry that dreamed and believed that they could do it and had the support and the resources and the encouragement to get there. And so for that, I am so deeply proud of what we've been able to do to empower her success. Thank you.